Hello and welcome to C++ Weekly. I'm your host Jason Turner. I'm available for code reviews, contracting, and on-site training. On this episode, I wanted to mention the Cevelop C++ IDE. It is a free and open source IDE that has lots of features for refactoring and cleaning up your C++ code. It's something that I've kind of wanted to try for a while, and just so you know, it is Eclipse based. I know some of us have personal opinions about Eclipse. Maybe we haven't had great luck with it in the past. And I've had a hard time getting Cevelop working for me in the past because it's been actually a while that I've wanted to try it out and make an episode about it. But I went ahead and sat down and figured out how to use it with the projects that I have in the way that I work, at least a bit, enough to get started, and I thought that I would cover it in an episode of C++ Weekly. So this is Cevelop. This is the website. It is cevelop.com. And it's got this handy way of looking at issues in your code and doing automatic corrections. And we're not going to spend a ton of time on that. What we're going to focus on is getting started and set up. Now, first of all, one of the main things I don't like about Eclipse and C++ Eclipse-based IDEs is they seem to want to force this kind of workspace structure on me that doesn't work at all with how I work. I use CMake. So a large part of this video is going to be using Cevelop with a CMake-based project. Now, on the Cevelop FAQ, which does seem like a logical place for me to have looked, there is instructions on how can I import my existing CMake-based project to Cevelop. Now, first of all, this first instruction, which seems easier, says using CMake inside the source directory. Don't do that. Don't ever do that. You should never run CMake inside your source directory. You should never do in-project source builds. That is, well, I'll say quite strongly, a terrible idea, because you end up making all kinds of assumptions about the visibility of paths during compilation, and then doing a clean build becomes virtually impossible at this point. You have to do something like use Git, if you're even using source control, to help you figure out what files don't belong in the project that need to be deleted and were artifacts from running CMake. So never ever do that. So we're going to be down here and we're going to be using CMake outside of the source directory, which seems slightly more complicated. But it gives us a little bit of clues here. So let's go ahead and make a checkout, and I'm going to do a checkout of ChiScript. All right, clean checkout of ChiScript, not a very big repository. Now I'm going to make my build folder. And now I need to run CMake. Now I'm going to do a Let's look at CMake real quick here. It lists for us this following generators that are available on this platform. And somehow, I don't know if it was a mental block or what, but when I've looked at this in the past, before looking at the documentation on Cevelop's website, I just never saw this Eclipse CDT for Unix makefiles generator down here. I just never saw it. So that's the one that we need to use. Now, the next thing that it says we need to do is be explicit about our std equals cxx flags to the command line so that the indexer knows the correct C++ standard version of your project. Now, I'm not going to do that for the moment, but be aware, if you have problems, you might have to specify this. But I'm trying to make sure that my CMake project tells the compiler what standard flags I need. So I'm going to do that. I'm not going to do it. That is. All right. CMake. No big deal. It ran. I have a makefile here. Now, to be perfectly honest, I have absolutely no idea what makes this makefile special. Nope. No idea what makes it a special makefile, why it can be picked up by CDT. But let's go ahead and go for it. Now, I am on Manjaro Linux, as you can see here, Manjaro Linux. And so I'm using Trizen, which is the installer for AUR for the archive, user archive of Arch Linux packages. And I've used that to install Cevelop for me. So it's already installed here. And then that was actually a really easy way to get this set up. It's another reason why I've avoided Eclipse IDEs, is I'm not a very big fan of the JVM, because I know there's been so many security issues with it on Windows particularly, and keeping it up to date is relatively hard. But if I can do that in my package manager, that saves me some steps. So, all right, so I'm going to launch Cevelop. And now it's asking me what workspace I want to use. And I'm going to go ahead and let it create this workspace folder for me. And I currently have no projects in here. And I don't know if there is any way to zoom this interface. Well, if there is, I'm not seeing it, so I'm going to have to zoom it in post-processing. So I'm going to import a project and a general existing project. And the root directory is going to be this C++ weekly folder that I just created here, this build folder, and I'm going to open this. And now it's already knows that the name of the project is ChyScript. That's good. And I'm going to hit finish. Now what I should have is a project folder here that has all of the different things in my project. So I've got build targets, and I've got, I don't have any binaries in here yet. So with one of these build targets, I should be able to click on this and hit build target. And then we can see here that I'm getting the output. And at the same time, I believe Cevelop is analyzing my project for me automatically. And it's going to be generating a list of warnings and such that are coming back from the console. Now, some of the things that I haven't figured out yet is, did I just make a debug build or release build? I'm not sure at the moment. To be perfectly honest, we're doing an experiment here. And you can start to see where it's showing us targets that have been built. libparser.a, that was just completed. That's one of the libraries that's built and linked with ChyScript. And there's the ChyScript standard library that's just been completed building. And now it is actually building the ChyScript interpreter. And there I have the ChyScript interpreter. So I can write down here, run or debug it. So if I say I want to run this as a local thing, now it found some errors, and it says build failed. I'm not entirely sure where those are coming from, but I do know that chai.exe, or the chai executable that is, was properly linked here. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit proceed. And I can see that I do have inside my little console window here a working ChyScript interpreter. So that's cool. Now let's just go ahead and click through some of the includes and some of the header files and source files in here. So if I go into some of the basic like ChyScript defines here, I found this pretty interesting, and I'm going to try again. There we go. I can zoom this text. Okay. This kind of thing, it has a star here. And I'm like, well, what does this star mean? It says this macro definition can be replaced with a constant expression. You know what? That sounds like a good idea. Let's just go ahead and replace it with a constant expression. I'm always on board with that. And there we go. A double click on it, and it replaced this with a constant expression. You know, honestly, I had never really considered using a constant expression here. And an alternative would actually be that I could make it a string view as of C++ 17. So that would be the next level kind of change to make there. So it has these recommendations throughout your code, and it's probably going to tell me refactor C string into standard string. No, I don't agree with that one right there. That should be a string view, not a standard string, particularly since I was already using it in a context per context. I see there's exclamation points here on source files. They might be too small to show up in the video well, but let's see. The spell checker built in, that's not very helpful to me. It's telling me something about this function declaration, found pointer parameter. No, that's true. I am using a pointer parameter here. So it has like an interesting like number of things here. Oh, task automatically pulling in to do items. Yeah, we probably yeah, we don't want to bring too much of that up. And then here is some of these things that I was clicking through manually. So it found 13 items, macro definitions, type defs, that kind of things that could be maybe using declarations or whatever. So yeah, there you go. That's just a super high level intro to Cevelop, because honestly, I don't know a lot about it. But if you've been like me and you've been interested in giving it a try, but you couldn't figure out how to get started with your CMake based project, hopefully this gets you going with that. So thanks for watching this episode of C++ Weekly.